Okay, that was really easy. I think that we're live now.
We are too. Can I join?
Huzzah.
I
Okay, so hello everyone. I think that we will wait for people to join. Hopefully everyone will have an easy time joining this. It's obviously, I can see people have already joined. Comment if you can see us okay, if you can hear us okay, just to make sure that everything is working smoothly. Obviously, if you don't know, the wonderful QB Tyler, she's right here.
Hi.
Most amazing woman. Wait, the most amazing woman ever. And I'm Gianna. And we are just going to have like a lovely little chat. If you guys have any questions, you can submit them somewhere. Oh, I can see them. Here we go.
Okay, yeah, me too. I was like, I'm not logged in, so maybe I can't see anything.
Can you not see anything? I can see them. I'm not sure how to share them with you.
I can see three. We have 3 comments so far, right? Or 5.
Yes. Can you see? Look, I can see. We can see and hear you. Thank you,
Yes.
Jay. I appreciate the feedback. Okay, so if you guys don't know, I'm really bad at technology, and this is my first time. So we're all going to give G some grace while we do this. But if you do have any questions, then put them in this comment thread, and we're just going to chat. But if you do have questions, I'll make sure that we get to them. Okay. Excellent. Okay, so QV, my love, I want to start off with a bang. And the bang is you have delicious daddies, so many delicious daddies, which we share a love of daddies.
Me too.
And I want to know, who do you think is the best father that you bring?
The best father?
Yeah, because normally people ask you like, who would you want to fuck or who would you want to marry?
Yeah.
Who do you think is the best dad?
The best dad?
Yeah.
I think just based on, I think I have to say Cal is the best dad.
Okay. Well, you have to explain.
I've only written 2, I guess, technical dads, Theo and Landon. Like, they're the only ones that had kids.
Cal's a daddy. Okay.
Huh?
Cal's a daddy.
He is. Like, going into the book, they had children. I mean, yes, Cal is a daddy. If we want to go down that road, yes, he is a father. But yeah, I feel like he embodied what like a father was supposed to do, because he raised Maddie and got her out of a really bad situation, prevented her from going into the system. Like, I feel like things changed real fast, but he was a really good dad to her. Like, he taught her how to ride a bike. He bought her a car. He made sure she went to school. Like, I talk about that more in the beginning of the book, about how like he didn't let her skip school and did his best to keep her out of trouble. Yeah, he was strict.
Yeah, he was.
He didn't let her do much. It opens with him being like, I heard you were speeding. Like, what are you doing? You're not going out if you can't adhere to the rules. I'll take your keys from you. Like, it's giving parent.
Totally. And okay, so this leads into something that I actually almost like had a mini rant about in the mirror the other day. A lot of people have a problem with when there's an age gap if the hero and the heroine have known each other when they're underage. And I fundamentally take umbrage with this issue that people have, because it's not like relationships can't change. And I don't understand how people can't wrap their head around that, because relationships change all the time in simple ways. Like, you lose touch with a friend, or you're just not, copacetic anymore, but also in profound ways. And so, like, does that annoy you as much as it annoys me that people can't understand how a relationship can change over the years?
I'll be honest. I feel like I have blinders on to a lot of things when I'm like, I don't know. I think that I've cultivated this environment of like age gap, taboo daddies. So people don't really follow me or like interact with me if they're not down, I go on Goodreads sometimes, but like not really that often. So I don't really have a lot of it in my face where it's like, oh, that's gross. Like, I have people that are like, how much further can we push it? Like,
no. And to be fair, I also don't have many people. I don't think I've ever actually had someone come at me like in my DMs or personally about, like Daddy Zeus or anything like that. And I actually think that a case can be made. I think we've talked about this before, that people who read our books, readers for our type of genre tend to be so open-minded and kind.
Yeah.
And actually, perversely, the genres or the like tropes that are a little bit more like universal or like more like palatable tend to have
Mhm.
readers who are a little bit harsher.
Yeah. Yes.
And I'm
100%.
not mad about it.
100%. I don't either. I love it. And to answer your question, kind of like it definitely does kind of irritate me though a little bit when people like when they're have this thought that like you said relationships can't change or like that they most of my books they do know the heroine when she's underage. I
Mhm.
mean, hello, like Whitney, Maddie, Stasia, Gabrielle, they were all like some of them are fresh out the womb. Okay, so like
Yeah.
I mean, there is a line, obviously,
Mhm.
and I'll be very honest. Sometimes I probably have gone a little too far over the line, but I try to stay as close as I can to it. Um, but
Yeah, but you
yeah,
know
there's
what? It's also fiction. Like, it
yes,
is fiction. We're not saying, that's something that also kind of bothers me is sometimes people are like, "You are what you write," or "You even believe what you write." And I'm like, if I believed what I wrote, I would probably be in the Hells Angels. Like, I'm not in the Hells Angels. Like, I
right,
love criminals. I love forbidden, subject matter. I love to explore the gray zone between black and white. That doesn't mean that in my life I'm a goody two shoes in real life. I don't even like jaywalk. And yet I write these things. And so there is a huge difference between who you are and who you identify as a person, as your
yeah,
private self versus the art you create. And that's also
absolutely,
something that people struggle with. Like, I've even had people meet me and they're like, "You're so nice and like bubbly." And they're weirded out by that because my books obviously are not nice and
yeah,
bubbly. Like, I don't write rom-coms. But again, that's because, you're not necessarily what you write. And people do struggle with that, which is like slightly annoying sometimes.
I, yeah. I will say you are so different. Yes, you are so different than your heroines, and I just love that because I feel like I am just like a clone of all of them. Like there's like I am a version of like all of my heroines are a version of me. Maybe not so much Maddie, but like the rest of them, like
Yeah.
they say the things that I say. They're sassy as hell. Like,
But I mean, I think that there's pieces of me, I would say, not even just in my heroines, but also in my heroes. Like, actually, King Kyle Guerra, one of my heroes, I identify with a ton. I actually think that he's one of the characters that I'm most like, and he's a dude. So obviously we give ourselves to our characters in strange ways. And sometimes I've even had people say, like, "Oh, you're so much like this character." And I'm like, really? Like, I don't think so, but that's interesting, So
yeah,
it is obviously there's like subjectiveness in art, and obviously sometimes we don't even know what pieces of ourselves we're putting in our books, but there definitely is a difference between like, or even sometimes people are like, "I can't read your books because I don't want to read about you and Mr. Darling banging." And I'm like, okay, well, good thing that's not what I write about. Like,
how it
hey,
was.
listen, do I test some sex scenes for logistical purposes? Of course.
Of
But that
course.
doesn't mean that, you're writing about your life. And I don't know about you, but like, I can't even keep a diary. I would way rather write about someone else than me.
Yeah, me either. I know. I'm good.
Yeah.
I'd rather
So
write about someone else.
yeah, it's interesting, like the preconceived notions that people have around not just like, dark and forbidden stuff, but also just authors in general and kind of the presumptions that people make based on just reading books and thinking that like the book equals the person. And obviously, it's the same thing for readers. You're not what you read either. You can read
Right, of course.
a ton
That's
of, weird stuff, and that's not necessarily like indicative of who you are or what you believe as a person.
agreed.
Okay, let's see here. Yeah, so someone just said that, and that's why we read to get out of our normal life. Very true. Well, okay, so what's something that you've always wanted to write about, but you have absolutely no experience with?
Uh, Let me okay. That I have no experience with. I mean, I don't have any
Yeah.
experience with an age gap that large, but
Fair.
let me think something else.
I mean, my husband's 16 days older than me, but I did date wait, I was 20 and he was 37, and he was a Frenchman named
I,
Vincent.
I know this
And
story.
Hayden
Okay.
always pretends he forgets his name and just uses a random French name, and I'm like, "You know his name." Jealousy.
Okay, what about you? Tell me. You tell me yours first.
Um,
Yeah.
okay, I actually have, like, a pretty random one,
Okay.
but I'm like, I don't know when I'm gonna write it because it's gonna take so much research, and, I'm a bit of a, like, I go too deep
Yeah.
in the research sometimes, but I
Yeah.
would love to write a romance set in space. Not like a sci-fi magic-y in the future one, but, like, about astronauts or something. I would love to do
Oh,
that.
that's so
It would just
interesting.
take a lot of my energy and time, so I don't have plans to do it at any point, but, like, I have 0 I mean, apart from being obsessed with Interstellar and The Martian, I have 0 experience with, like,
Yeah.
space travel or anything, so, yeah, that's probably mine.
Okay,
Oh, someone has a
I came up with
suggestion
one.
for you.
Huh?
Someone has a suggestion for you.
So that was one of the things I was thinking of was mafia, and then the other is like Omegaverse. A lot of people have said that like
Yeah.
I would, because I write really unhinged, like crazy men, that it would be perfect for that. But yes, I
Right?
haven't. I read like a handful. I read a good, maybe like 10. But I think I need to read more to like.
Sorry, my dog is being super annoying and just, like, he can hear your voice and he wants to, like, be
Hi,
involved, and it's
Romeo.
really bothering me. I would probably Fate if you wrote a Megaverse. I love a Megaverse. Girl, you would crush that. Have you Whoa. That is my reaction. Exactly. My
Fireworks.
reaction to you writing a Megaverse. I'm obsessed that that just happened. No idea why. Is that something that you actually would ever think about?
Yeah. Yeah. Just I I like writing an unhinged man. I mean, there's a little bit of unhinged in all my heroes. So like being able to go even further and like do some things that even you can't do necessarily one as a like human.
Mhm.
Um, but just yeah, no, I yeah.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
would
I
love
want
that.
a feral, like with the knots and everything. I'm here
The
for it.
breeding kink the
Yeah.
breeding kink would
I have a
be
breeding kink in most of my books with their humans.
I
Like,
know. It would just be like, yeah, it would take it to that next level of, like, yeah, basically unhinged level, and it would be fantastic. I also This is a bit of a specific one for, like, the shifter Megaverse idea, but I love a scent kink when they, like, get off on their smell and
yeah,
just, like,
a lot of
why
them
is it so hot? I don't
yeah.
know.
I read one that was, they were of course I'm reading a taboo Omegaverse. They were
Okay.
siblings. And like, yeah,
Ooh.
he like scented her when she like came to like visit him at school, like at college. He was in like Alpha College, I don't know. And he walked in the door and he was like, "Oh, I'm hard. Who was that?" And it was so hot. And they were
What?
siblings, but then they were like, Omegaverse or fated mates like supersedes
Mm.
siblings in their universe.
Mm.
Like they were like,
Love it.
it kind of happens
Mhm.
sometimes. I was like, wow, this is great. This is hot.
Yeah. So forbidden, so primal. Okay. I don't know, did you ever watch were you a Twihard?
Like Twilight? Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
so were you team Jacob or were you team Edward?
I I was Team Edward.
Okay, I was team Edward too, and I'm
Okay.
not changing that stance. I'm still team Edward. But I used to be such a vampire girly, and I was like, shifters are so lame. Like, I don't even like them.
Oh yeah,
And
now
now I'm so much more on my shifter game than my vampire game because there's just like they're so manly and they growl and they're hairy and they just like
uh
can throw you around and they're just it's the primal thing that's just so
yeah,
hot. The
for sure.
vampires don't have they're just too sophisticated usually. And
Yeah.
then the shifters are more like I don't know, they're basically like the paranormal equivalent of a biker. I think that's why I like them now.
I mean, oh yeah, because like packs and stuff. But I would say like
Yes.
Jacob was not really feral though. So I think that's maybe
No.
if he was like
He was too
hotter,
nice.
yeah,
He
then
was
maybe
too
we
nice.
would be different.
Yeah, I'm not about that. He didn't have the right energy, but like, yeah, I like the unhinged Megaverse idea for sure. Wow. Oh, do you know what the title of that book was?
um, I'm gonna have to look back. You know who wrote it? I think B. Sob Jacken wrote it. I'm pretty sure that's who wrote it.
B. Sob Jacken. That's not an
Yep.
easy one to remember.
She wrote like Come Slut and like
Don't know
Treading
that.
Water. I'm pretty sure that's who wrote it. But I think you can only get it on Eden Books because it is bio
Taboo.
siblings. So but I will double check and I'll post if I'm correct.
Okay. I did watch Bitten. I also read the books by Kelly Armstrong. And they're really good. The show was also filmed in Canada, so and also the girl is very beautiful in the show. And so was the guy. What was his name? Oh God, he's a hunk of burning love. Honestly, QB, just look up the show to look up how hot the hero is in it. It's
Okay, I'm down.
and it's a really good show. But I think it was like only 2 seasons or something. But yes, highly recommend. Okay, someone has another question for you. Would you ever write MM? I feel like no.
Yes. I don't know. At some point in my career, yes. I actually have been thinking that I'm ready to write my first, like, more than 2 people in a scene. So I so I think that if I write an MFM, that would be like a nice, which is what I want to write. That would be like a gateway into writing maybe something MM.
Yeah, I feel like
I
dipping your
read it.
toe in.
Huh?
Like dipping your toe in and then kind of
Yes.
seeing how
Right.
it goes. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I
But
mean,
I
I would
definitely,
love more than one QB hero in a book. Like that would just be just crazy levels of deliciousness.
yes. I mean, it would definitely still be forbidden. I don't know if I would tap into daddy kink with that, but maybe, who knows? Um,
Who knows where your brain will go under the right circumstances.
exactly. But yeah, no, I could do maybe like stepbrothers. Oh, hot.
Hey, I would love that. Stepbrothers and people are really into this group scene, QB. Like they're obsessed.
Okay. Hi, Rachel.
Yeah, Rachel's like, please.
Oh, she's been on my case about this for longer than this call.
I love it. Well, let's all peer pressure you into doing this and delivering us the goods. I feel like you would definitely need like a heat warning or like at the beginning of the book, just like warning, be seated while reading this, or you might faint and hit your head. If anyone deserves an MF moment, it's a QB heroine. I love that. I'm going to vouch for that as well.
Oh yeah, I mean they would definitely take care of her.
Okay,
Yeah.
so you just said that you were reading this incest book. Is that a line that you would ever cross, like for yourself writing, or is that something that you're not comfortable with?
Yeah, I get this question quite often. I probably am not going to go that route. The furthest I would go would be, I mean, I feel like I already pushed the envelope so much with like them being knowing the girls from like a very early age, because I do
Yeah.
think there's more to taboo than just blood relation.
Yeah.
But I think I've said this before, like when I've had this question, that like if I were to ever do any kind of blood related siblings or relation, it would be that they did not know each other until they turned 18. And it was like oh my God, I found you. And
Yeah.
then something happened later. And then that kind of takes away the taboo-ness of it because the familiarity will be gone.
Yeah, I think that it's one of those weird situations where it takes away the taboo-ness for people who are looking for that taboo-ness, but it's
Mhm.
still too taboo for people who hate that. Do you know what I
Right.
mean? So it's like the worst of both worlds. Like you either want to go big or go home, kind of.
Yeah. And it's kind of, yes. So yeah, exactly. Like at that point, it would be, something, well, I guess like something like Hale. I always use that as an example, like where they
Yeah.
knew each other, they've known their siblings, and then they start. Yes. I don't know that I could ever do that. Love reading those, but I don't know that I could ever write it.
That's fair. That's fair. What about why choose? Have you ever thought about that?
That's too many dicks.
Yeah. Yeah, it's asking a lot of a body for sure. I don't know if that's the consideration.
Asking a lot of me to like, okay, where is this? Where is that? Like,
Totally. And there's only so many words for dick. So it's
Mhm.
like, how do you not use, like I was talking to Penelope Black, who's a Why Choose author, and she was saying like there's only so many words for dick. And sometimes I get confused, or like sometimes there's a sex scene and I've said the word dick like 78 times. And I'm like, yeah, that's something I didn't think about, but that would be hard. Yeah, the logistics would be a lot.
Would you ever do a white shoes?
No. I
No.
mean, I don't like to say no, like unequivocally, but no. I just don't have any desire and I
Yeah.
never have. It's just for me, it's not even the too much dick, which I don't believe in. Like at
No,
all.
I just meant like
Um,
I meant more like there's too many to like keep track of where they all are in a scene.
I think for me, it's more that I already write long books because I need context for my characters. I need you to know them really well. I can't imagine doing more than 3. I love a throuple. Throuples are my favorite place to be. I wish I was in a throuple. I wish I could duplicate Hayden. um, but I don't think anything more than that is just like feasible or enjoyable in my mind. Like just nothing has ever there's been no inkling whatsoever for me to go there. And I have inklings for lots of things.
Yeah.
Definitely not white shoes. I think that's like a that and then the is it surprise baby? No, hidden baby, secret baby. Also don't like that. Those are probably the only 2 that I really feel like I won't go to.
Yeah. No, and I think we've talked about like how secret baby is different than accidental pregnancy because
Yes.
secret baby is more you're leaning more into miscommunication and like just not having a conversation with the father or the mother of your child. Why? Like,
Like,
please.
I'm sorry, but that is just okay, so I don't love miscommunication anyway. Like,
Yeah, no.
if it's a little bit, and they get over it pretty quickly, but if it's like the massive miscommunication and they break up for years, and then you've kept a human child from them, it just
Mhm.
doesn't seem like there's any feasible way for me to empathize with that situation.
Yep. Because
Like, you can
the
find
father
it.
is always mad. He's always
Yeah.
upset. It's not like he's like, well, I didn't want it anyway. Like it's
Yeah.
always like he's devastated. I've missed out
Yeah.
on 8 years of this child's life.
Totally, totally. I mean, it's just and then you just are like, yeah, and you also subjected the child to that. Like you made that decision for the child without any it's just a lot. So yeah, I don't like that one either. And I would never write incest either. I've never had that compulsion. I like Lila and Nova were foster siblings, which people don't even really talk about. They always say it's like friends to lovers, but they were foster siblings. Like she was raised kind of in his house and stuff. Um, and I think that's kind of my my line. I like the Guardian Ward trope though too. Like I have that as well with Tiernan and Bianca, and I don't have any issues with that. Which
Oh yeah, I love it. I love a guardian ward. Oh, I
it's
love it. It's
it's so
so
so we have also talked about this before, and you and I are in the small echelon, I think, of authors who have heroines who are 17, who are under 18.
I don't talk about it, G.
I know
Shh.
you don't. I know you don't, but it's fine. I mean, really, like at least for me, and I know it's state by state in like the US, but 16 is actually the age of consent where I'm from. So, that's a thing. But would
Not
you
where I
ever
am.
do that again, or would you just kind of
No,
avoid that? Yeah.
no, I would never do it again. Honestly, safe space here, y'all. Like, I don't really know what drove me to make her 17 instead of 18. I mean, it's shy of like 3 days, but I don't even know why I did that. I remember when I was writing Unconditional, I was writing off of the high of what I felt reading like The Wild and reading Welcome to the Dark Side. And I was like, oh, I guess everyone's doing it. I read Off Balance and Off Balance. She's 16 in that, or I guess
Ooh,
she's
she's
17.
15 in that.
Okay. So either way,
Yeah.
had read all those books and then decided, okay, this is the kind of author I want to be. I want to write forbidden romance.
Mhm.
This is what I like. So I was like, oh yeah, let's just make her 17. I don't know why I did that.
Fair
I
enough.
will never again because honestly, every day I wake up like, whew, all right, it's to ride another day.
Oh my gosh, that's hilarious.
Like,
We have talked about this before. I have like zero anxiety around it. Like I know some people will never like it because she's 17, but I don't know. I'm not a worrier, I guess, is like the thing. I write a book and I'm like, if I like it, then that's good enough. And I'm
yeah,
fine with it in almost like a psychopathic way. But I think I have to do that because otherwise it's too much, obviously. And especially, writing the kind of things that we write, it's not for everyone.
no, for sure.
And I remember actually Penn Douglas had, and I'm paraphrasing here, but they had a post a number of years ago because their Devil's Night series was getting a lot of hate,
Mhm.
which I don't even get. But anyway, getting a lot of hate. And they basically said, like, when you write dark or forbidden, something that's just more niche and like a little bit less palatable than, rom-coms or sports romance or whatever, the joy that you derive from writing that has to outweigh all the hate that you get. And
Yeah,
so, and that's true, right? Like you just have to cling to the fact that you love this, it inspires you, it excites you. And that has to be like your armor against the hate that you're inevitably going to get for writing something that's a little taboo or forbidden or whatever. And so
That's
I
nice.
try to do that
Yeah.
for sure.
I like that. I like that a lot. That's
Yeah.
I mean, I for sure I think you can tell in what I write that I love writing forbidden. And same with you. Like, we love the books that we write. We love how forbidden and dark and sexy and spicy they are, or else like we wouldn't do it over and over and over again. Like, we're not 3 books in at this point. Like,
No, definitely not.
we keep doing it.
No, and
So
I mean, I don't know about for you, but for me, it's like I love angst. You know, I know that there was like a whole movement around like no third act breakups, no angst, no whatever, no other woman drama, no cheating, no all things that create
mhm,
drama. But I love the drama of it, and I love the drama of it because it's showing that they can overcome obstacles, like these huge obstacles to be together. Like it shows sacrifice, it shows commitment in a way that's like very powerful.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, like it just ups the stakes a ton.
I agree.
Yes, we want drama. Okay, someone asked a good question. Let me just see here. Okay.
Jeez, I was
Okay,
almost
what
gonna
is your
was
favorite book that you have written?
favorite book that I've written. Um, wow, I go back and forth with this with so much. I What Was Meant to Be, I feel like, is my go-to book that I say that is my favorite. I feel like it just the timing of when I wrote it and like the outpouring of support I got, after writing it, and people just loved that book so much.
Mhm,
And I did too. Like, I felt like it was the best of like, it was unconditional meets Love Unexpected, kind of,
mhm.
because in Love Unexpected, Stassi and Dominic didn't meet until Stassi was like 12, 13, whereas, Whitney he was the second person to hold her.
Yeah.
So it kind of had the vibes of Unconditional, of like him growing up and seeing her and like being there for her. And then
Mhm.
also, they were a little bit older. She was
Yeah.
23 kind of when the book opens.
Mhm.
So, I mean, I love that book. I love kind of the things that I did in that book for the first time. Like, I don't know, I just had so much fun writing it. And
Mhm.
I don't know, I feel like it kind of smushy, but like it brought me back to life. So I think that's my
Yeah.
favorite.
I mean, usually things that are smushy for a reason. It's because we care
Yeah.
about them a lot and they had a pretty profound impact. So I totally understand that. And I never answer this question. And I know it frustrates people, but
But you asked me.
well, hey, you could have said I don't answer this
No,
question. And
I
I just don't because I don't want to. I don't know. I don't have a response really is the problem. Like I don't my favorite book that I write is the book I'm writing in the moment because you're so in it with the characters and
Mhm.
like you're so immersed. And so I feel like once I've written a book, I almost don't even like have ownership of it anymore in terms of like I just feel like they're alive and they're living their lives and they're like autonomous human beings and I don't feel like I can say they're my favorites. It's just like I wouldn't be like, "Oh, who's my favorite friend?" Or,
Yeah.
it's just I don't believe in that. Like there's no I can't compare them. I can't lift one above the other. But I will and I do sometimes say like King and Zeus Garrow, obviously, like from Lessons in Corruption and Welcome to the Dark Side, they did change my life
Yeah.
because that year I moved to Europe and I was on a mission to make my lifelong dream of being a writer come true. And they were the ones to do it for me. So
Yeah.
I'm grateful to those two books and to like King and Cress and Lou and Zeus for doing that for me. That doesn't mean that they're my favorite books I've ever written. It just means that, there's a smushy part of me that's like, these were the books that did it. And like, there's an eternal gratitude towards those characters. But again, like that gratitude it's strange, but like I disassociate from it. I'm like, thank you, King and Cress and Zeus and Lou, you human beings that helped me. Like, it's not,
Real
it's a different.
people out walking around.
Yeah, exactly. Like, so yeah, I think that's why it's hard to pick a favorite because it's like they exist now and I can't just pick a favorite friend or a favorite sibling or whatever. They're just like they're all great.
Yeah, agreed.
Which I know some people hate that answer, but it is what it is.
No, and
Um
honestly, I think I typically say what was meant to be, but I will it changes. Sometimes it's unconditional, sometimes it's love unexpected because Love Unexpected was the book that changed everything for me. So like there's
Mhm.
times I'm like, that's my favorite because that's the book
Yeah.
that like changed my life, and it's typically
Yeah,
one of those three, I will say though.
fair enough. And I mean, all of them have like I think if you even think long enough about writing a book, you can think about where you were at in that moment and where,
Yeah.
why it was poignant and all that stuff. So like there's probably an argument to be made for every single book we've ever
Oh,
written,
for sure.
you
For
know.
sure.
We wouldn't probably have published it if we didn't love it a ton.
Yeah.
But okay, so I'm glad that someone asked this or said this. Forget Me Not thus far has been really the only book where I was okay with cheating. It was done so well. I love all your books, but that one sticks out. Obviously, I love cheating. You love cheating. This is a drama thing.
Yeah.
Your upcoming book is a messy romance as well and involves cheating. Am I correct?
You are correct. Yes, ma'am.
So, can you tell us anything more about that, or is it very hush hush right now?
No, I mean, if you've read The Season of Secrets, you definitely have like a little bit of a background about it. You know that Chris and Marissa have hooked up prior to uh, Marissa even starting working at the company because he is her boss. And they have one night together. He does not tell her he's married. He is married. He is married. He has been married for 6 years and he
All the
sleeps
time. Yeah.
with this girl. Okay, it
Hey,
kind of
no judgment here, honey.
no, I know, but it's just I had already written it in The Season of Secrets. I couldn't really like change it. I was like, well, I'm locked into this nonsense now. I guess I just got to go
Yeah.
with it and see where it takes me. But you'll get to know the wife a little bit. She is not great.
One would hope. Yeah.
Yeah, she's not. We don't love her. He does not tell anyway. He doesn't tell Marissa that he is married. They have this explosive night together, and then he kind of like disappears into the night, like
Mhm.
leaves while she's sleeping, kind of type thing. I'm giving you guys a little bit of a sneak into the prologue. So obviously she's upset, she's mad, and then a couple months later she goes and it's her first day at Beckham Securities, and he's her boss. So it's a lot of
When are you sending it to me?
Okay, yeah, I can send it to you. Yeah. I
You're
just
always
got
so surprised when I'm like, why have you not sent this? This was like, I emailed Sierra Simone and I was like, who do I have to kill to get Honeycat? Like, why is everyone reading it and why don't I have it? And then she emails me, she's like, it's horrible. You won't like it. I'm like, you and QB, both of you, I have to like get on my knees and beg. Send me the words
no,
always.
I
I love
got
them.
you. I got when when we're done. Yes, 100%.
Yeah.
It is it's very messy, but it is, I believe, some of my like strongest, not maybe my strongest writing, because I feel like in so many of my books, Forget Me Not, I feel like is also an outlier. But my books that have cheating, I feel like I really dig deep into a lot of like their relationship, and like there's obviously other woman drama, like in The Bittersweet Duet, there's other men drama. Whereas in like Unconditional and Love Unexpected and my daddy books, there's never another woman. There's never another man. Like, I mean, Parker was so irrelevant. Like, we kind of were like, haha, like, why are we even talking about
Yeah.
him? It's always just the couple overcoming these issues. And I feel like I really, I don't know, had to like go back into being in high school and me getting cheated on and having to kind of like dig up some of those feelings of like,
Yeah.
these are the feelings that someone might feel, even the wife might feel, how the other woman's going to feel. I mean, because yeah, Marissa, I made her the other woman. It is
Mhm.
unfortunate. And she, kind of resents Chris a little bit for that, because she's like, you unknowingly made me one. Like, I didn't know
Yeah.
you were married, and now you're
I didn't
here,
sign up for that.
like on your knees trying to be with me. Sir, you're married. Back
Yeah.
up. But also, what that mouth do?
No, but that's my favorite type of cheating because I love when, like, I don't think that you always meet the person you're supposed to be with or the person that you should be with at the right time. Timing is everything. And
Yeah.
unfortunately, a lot of the time that doesn't work out. And so, like, I think it's so powerful to see. Again, it's about the obstacles that a couple overcomes. And those are the love stories that I love and that I'm drawn to. And I know that you're the same way. That, okay, they have all of this mess. Basically, you threw them into a shitstorm and we have to watch them figure out how to get through it and end up together. And that is so romantic. And I know that that's a strange thing to think, but it is romantic because I don't want to see, I just don't root for an untested couple the same way that I root for a tested couple. Because
Yeah.
I don't know,
Oh,
like
they're
there was
home
that
so
trend
much.
going around
Yeah.
TikTok where it was like, who would be divorced after the HEA? Did you see that trend that went around?
Wait, what?
There was like a trend around TikTok that were like, what books would actually end up in divorce like 10 years after the HEA? Yeah, this was like I
That's so
actually went
mean.
down a rabbit hole. I was so curious. And
Well, I didn't get
that
tagged, so I guess I'm safe.
no, yeah, you weren't your books didn't come up that I saw. But I think it's because a lot of it's like sometimes you read a book and you're like, but they didn't even go through anything. Like you don't
Yeah.
even know if they didn't have a stress test.
Yeah.
Versus in this situation that you've just told us about, they're literally in the stress test from day one. And I
Yeah.
love that. Like it just creates such a compelling narrative and connection between the hero and the heroine.
For sure. I mean, I hope that comes across. I will say, anybody who's on here, there is no, they don't cheat on each other. I hope that's good for y'all.
I don't love that. That
Yeah.
cheating bit is not, and I've read books like that and like some of them have been really wonderful, but that's not my favorite. I like it when it's the hero
Yeah.
and the heroine.
They're cheating. Yeah, yeah, of course. I
Making,
mean, yeah,
yeah.
and that's why I say Forget Me Not is like my outlier. Like I say it, that book was a fever dream. Like, how did I write a book that a hero cheats on a heroine? I mean, it was off page, but still.
Well, hey, and people make mistakes and things happen. And that's why, it's not my favorite, but when I read a book and it's done well, I enjoy it because also, let's be real. Sometimes men are not the most emotionally evolved creatures in the world. And sometimes I think they have to learn by making mistakes because they're action oriented versus like we can hypothesize about things and talk about things with our girlfriends and kind of figure out, no, we don't need
Don't
to
do
do that.
that.
We don't need to take that step to realize it's wrong. But I think
Yeah.
sometimes men do. And so I do love this is why I love a messy romance because it feels real. Like life is not cut and dry. It's not A plus B equals C forever after. Like it's tough and there's fluctuations and there's things that come up. And that's why I love your books. That's why I love writing my books. Those are the books that I'm drawn to that probably the people in the comments are drawn to as well.
Yeah, I see a lot of people that are like, I loved Forget Me Not, even though he cheated. Like,
Yeah.
guys, thank you.
Yeah. People love it. Look, they love it. So, yeah. And I mean, again, like I actually, and I don't know about you, but I almost get off on writing a book that like I know people aren't going to like I want to convince you by the end of the book that something that shouldn't work will work.
Yeah.
That's what I love.
I
Right?
think that we both do a good job of that.
Yeah, we're like, hey,
Our
hey,
book.
hey, I'm gonna tell you right now, he cheats on her. Like they're married, whatever. All
Mhm.
these impossible scenarios. And if by the end of the day you love them, isn't that so satisfying?
Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
it's the best feeling. Okay, someone had a really good question. I'm just gonna go back and see. Um, okay, wait, someone said this about Hidden Baby. It's not realistic. And I agree because you could find someone no matter what now. Come on.
Right.
Like, come on. It's
Easily.
not like back in the day where you could just like recreate your life if you moved like a town over. Like, you
Yeah.
can't do that anymore. Okay. Lisa has a good one. Okay. What's your favorite book of each other? We already know the answer to this
Yeah,
though.
I was gonna say, I know yours, you know mine. We know each other's.
Yeah. But we can go. I mean,
Yeah.
mine's unconditional. And
Yep.
that's just, of course, like Maddie and Cal. Guys, if you have not read Unconditional, I don't even know what to say to you because it's so good. And for me, like, because Cal is such a QB hero in my opinion. Like he's a little bit strict, he's a little bit bossy, he's a little bit like over possessive protective, he's like a little bit unhinged and he's sexy as hell. Like and he's a good guy and that's what I love is like I think all of your heroes, no matter what happens, no matter what situations they are in, if they're cheating on, even the heroine, if they're married, if whatever, you make them people that you can root for. And
Yeah.
a lot of the times it's like it's either their circumstances are messed up or they need to like have some growth, but they're always good men.
Yeah.
And it's like very, so you can relate to them and you can love them right away, even if you also hate them, which is
Yeah.
like a bit of a magical alchemy. It's not easy to do that. Um, and I also love Maddie. I feel like I can't like say that enough as well. She honestly, if you put yourself in her shoes, like she's ballsy.
Yep. And
Like
and
super fucking ballsy.
so many people say that about my heroines. They're like, they're super ballsy and they know what they want. And I'm like, yes, because if he was the one to initiate things, then I'm going to be getting comments like, well, that's grooming, or like, what is he doing? Like I'm always going to make the heroine make the first move if she's younger. Like, it's just, no. I mean, and you did that. You kind of did the same thing,
Yes,
like,
oh, for sure. I mean, like in Welcome to the Dark Side, when Lulu says that, like, I'm in love with you, basically, when
yeah,
they're writing letters, he's like, okay, it's over. And they stop writing
we're done.
letters.
We're done.
It's
See ya.
goodbye. And, like, pieces out of her life, even though they've been in each other's lives for a long time. And
Yeah.
then she basically has to like strip naked to get him to pay
Get him
attention
to pay attention to her.
exactly. And I think that, and Maddie is like that too. Like, I mean, it's not the same scenario, but her conviction is really what sells the situation. The fact that like it feels like less of a power imbalance because she is so strong in her convictions about Cal. And
Yeah.
that is a really important piece of the puzzle, I think, in telling a story like that. That's like
Yeah.
so forbidden with such a big age gap.
I agree. And well, my favorite book of G's is Welcome to the Dark Side, 100%. Like, I,
That's how we
I,
became friends.
I feel like I read that book like consistently. Like, I will listen to the audio. Although you've been doing a lot of TikToks about lessons in corruption, and I'm like, I need to go back and read that. Like, you keep the video where it's like when he goes and they're like pulling the weeds in her house, and she's like, you can't bring gang members here, and he's like, hold up.
I know.
So,
He's ballsy. Speaking of ballsy.
like, I brought my family here to help you out. Don't talk to me like that. I was like, yes,
I love
Daddy.
it. The sass level. We both have sassy characters though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. So
Like we love the sass. But yeah, I mean, and it's not surprising that those are our favorite books from each other because there's a lot of similarities if you've read both Unconditional and Welcome to the Dark Side, just in the forbidden, the age gap.
yeah.
Oh, you haven't read Lessons in Corruption. Highly recommend. I mean, a lot of people
King is so hot. He's so hot.
A lot of people don't love the reverse age gap, which I think is kind of strange just because why shouldn't we also enjoy the reverse age gap? Like we get older. Why can't we enjoy, an age gap where we're older and we're with a young hot guy? I do think that there's a maturity factor that people get worried about. King is not your average 18-year-old boy.
That's what I was going to say.
And so, yeah, I mean, but everyone that I've ever read, because I do enjoy them, the younger man is not like a bro in a fraternity, you guys. He's like a hot, mature, knows what he wants kind of guy, which is the way it has to be, I think. I want it, if he's younger, if he's older, whatever, I want the man to be like that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, for sure. There has to be some kind of like daddy energy. And honestly, so one of the reasons why I stopped writing Lucas's book, I was very loud about this, is because I kind of didn't know how to write him. Like I knew how to, but then I was like, well, how is that different than how Theo acts? Like, I don't want him to be a clone of Theo. This is his son. So I don't know. I really struggled with that. And maybe I just need like a year. I'm going to, take a break, write something else and come back and then see how I feel. But that was my big thing, that I just felt like I didn't know how to write a 23-year-old. That's how old Lucas is.
I feel like, and I know this is like maybe a strange thing to say, but I've always felt like age doesn't matter because it's the circumstances of your life. And like, I think that, and I will say, I think it's also hard to write about a child of a hero or heroine that already exists, because you can't give them the same level of trauma without throwing shade at the original hero or heroine. And I think that it's like trauma and life experience that bring maturity. And so then it becomes this kind of difficult thing of like, how do I make someone who hasn't really been through it and who's younger seem mature? Because with Maddie, and unconditional, she'd been through it, like
Yeah.
from basically go. And so
Yeah.
had Lulu. And so they had this maturity and this like kind of like somberness for their age that made them seem like they were not too young.
Mhm.
And I think that it has to be that life experience. They have to have been through it. And like if you already have a pre-established situation, like people ask me about next gen for the Fallen Men all the time, and I don't confirm or deny it. But imagine me having to do that without throwing shade at parents. I love throwing shade at parents. A fucked up parent is my bread and butter. I want
Same.
that. I'm Disney. I'm
Same.
Disney. I want one parent to at least be awful.
Yeah.
Okay?
Either
And so,
it's gonna be that or they're dead. Like there's no in between.
they're dead, and that's it. Actually, I think the only hero or heroine, I think, with a fully functioning family is Nova in Inked and Lies. He has Molly and Diogo, and they're awesome. And that's it. In all my books that I've written, I think that's it. So it is hard to give someone that much like depth of emotion when they're young if they don't have like basically a screwed up history. And you can't really do that if you already have.
With Lucas, I had the built-in trauma because his dad married his best friend that he was in love with. And I had, I wrote a good amount of this book, and there was definitely a lot of him kind of angry at Theo and like kind of avoiding him and like not taking his calls and stuff like that. So I had that, but it's still just, I don't know, something just wasn't clicking. And I'm not someone, you I'm sure the same way. Like I don't feel like I'm 100% in love with this story. Like it's gotta go back to the shelf for a little bit. So
yeah, I always say it needs to marinate. Like I'm a big fan of, I guess, the food tropes, but it needs to percolate or it needs to marinate, and you can go back and see if it's ready to rumble.
Yeah.
At another time. And it's not like you don't have other stories to tell either. So, it's fine. It's obviously hard when you announce something or you feel like you have to give, readers something because of timeline or because of whatever. But I think at the end of the day, readers want the best book from you, and they're not going to be upset if you need time to give that to them.
Yeah, no, for sure. I'm glad I didn't give too much information about Lucas. Like I was very quiet about it, and then kind of came out and was like, never mind, changed my mind. It's not, now we're gonna have someone else. And so people were kind of like, oh, okay, we didn't really even get a chance to be excited about Lucas yet. So that was good.
Yeah, I think we have to do what we have to do to feel excited about our work, especially because like we have to sit down and write. And like, this is our job. And so you need to keep the creative excitement alive. And if you sit down every day to write anyway, plus have to write about something that's just not working for you, it's just the worst feeling in the world. It's like pulling teeth every day.
Yep.
Eileen said you love the dead parents, which is,
I do. Yeah.
It is what it is, guys. We love the trauma up in here.
Okay. For what I choose to write, sometimes it's necessary.
Yeah, I have
so that the hero is kind of has to step into that parental role. I need the parents to be bad.
They need to go away. Yeah, exactly. I'm just thinking right now, I think in most of my books, someone even dies. I think I have a lot of death in my books. Like I think parents even die in my books.
Oh, you mean like not
even
dead? Yeah. I'm
trying to think. Lots of dead parents.
Oh, well, yeah, Stasia's mom, she's on Page.
Yeah. So it's interesting. It's interesting. I watch too many Disney movies. I blame it on the Disney movies. There was always like a dead parent in every Disney movie ever. Yep. So thanks, Walt. Actually, speaking of Disney or fairy tales or whatever, have you ever been drawn to tell a retelling?
So I don't love retellings, but I would be down for like a Beauty and the Beast type thing because I love Stockholm Syndrome. Like I don't read as much as I used to, but back when I feel like Stockholm was really hot, I feel like there was a time when it was hot. Yeah, right? Like,
it was like a long time ago.
Series, I love that series, but I feel like there was just a lot of it. And that's very Beauty and the Beast-esque. And I feel like I would really like, it's my favorite
tale. A great job of a Beauty and the Beast retelling. I would eat that up.
And if it was a Beauty and the Beast, but he shifted into a wolf. Could you imagine?
Is it in the Megaverse Beauty and the Beast?
Yeah, the Megaverse Beauty and the Beast.
Write it.
Wow, it's actually the beast though. It's not like you changed
Um,
to a
it's
human.
writing itself. It's writing itself. Grab a pen and paper right now. Come on, give it to me. Oh my gosh, that's funny. I would be
You
down though. I have to lie.
you no, have you done one? No, yes, you have. You did. Well, you did
The
Medusa.
Medusa one,
Okay.
yeah. I don't think I would do. I mean, and also I will say Enslaved Duet gives like Hades and Persephone vibes, but it's not like I've never said it's a retelling. Um, I like myths.
Not so
And I
much. Yeah.
like and even maybe like a Jane Austen retelling um or like the Iliad or the Odyssey or something I could get behind, but I don't think like a Disney situation really. I love Beauty and the Beast, but it doesn't hit me really. And like Cinderella or Little Mermaid or anything like that just
Yeah.
doesn't really work for me. But who knows? One day we could be talking about it and I'd be like, actually, you know what? Yes, what if this happened? I mean, you talk about something enough, you can probably find some sort of spark of an idea, but at
Yeah.
this moment, I don't think so.
And also, I
Yeah.
feel like there's so many like elements of fairy tale, and in every book. I mean,
Yes.
Cinderella, you could say that's arranged marriage, or like
Yeah.
or one night stand.
Yeah.
There's kind of
Rags to
something in
riches.
what?
Yeah, I mean,
Oh, yeah,
the universal fantasy the universal fantasies, plural, pardon me, that we put in all of our books, you know, they're universal. So they're in a lot of different stories that already exist, legends, fairy tales, there's an infinite number of stories that can be told, but like there's not an infinite number of building blocks, So there's
yeah,
going to be overlap that you can find in lots of different things. But I don't think like a direct translation from something like a fairy tale is something that I would be into.
yeah. I get that.
Um, I like this idea too. Thanks, Sarah. You taking notes? Because we're all wanting this now. Okay. This is what we want. There
All
we
right.
go. She's writing it down. I'm so excited. Okay. So, what's another little thing that you can tell us about maybe not even like maybe what you're going to work on next or like any kind of fun tidbit that you can like leave us with before we head off?
um, there's a few things that I am wanting to work on this year. For the rest of the year, I want to do the coach and the football coach and the cheerleader. I want to do that. That's been something I've been talking about kind of for a minute. I want to do. I don't know where in this year it's going to fall, but I do want to do a step siblings book, like,
Yes, you've been talking about that for a while.
and it will be so different than Always Been You. And that was why I think I held off for so long, because I wanted to give it some space. But it will be like they're closer in age. It won't be an age gap, and they're like truly being raised together. So it's going to have that, like their parents met when they were toddlers, 5, 6, that age, and they're going to grow up together. And then that's, which is how, if you're going to do a taboo book with step
Let's
siblings,
go
that's
for
how I
it.
want to see it. I want to
Go
see
big
it
or go home.
from the beginning.
Yes, great. I agree.
And the parents kind of being like, nope, we don't know, no, nope.
Yes.
So that's definitely on my list of things to do. And then that messy nonsense I saw today on TikTok, I want to write that. Did you
What
see the
messy
thing? Did
nonsense?
you see what I posted on my stories about?
No.
Oh my gosh, I don't know if any. Okay, the girl. It was like a Reddit post, and it was like, "Am I the asshole for sleeping with my ex fiance's secret baby?" So he was engaged to this woman. Yes, he was engaged to this woman, and they were gonna get married. And then she got pregnant, and then it came out that he wasn't the dad. And so he was like, "We're done. Like, kick you out of my life. Goodbye." And then 23 years later, he sleeps with the daughter, with the secret baby. Yes, yes. Go. I'm gonna send you the link when we get off of this. I
Like my brain.
Someone posted on TikTok, and I was like, I think I want to write this. Like, so
Yes.
anyway.
I think it needs to be written like tomorrow. Oh my God. That is so
It
good.
goes on to be, it's so crazy, G. Like, he, like, anyway, they end up sleeping together and they send like a picture to the mom. Like, yeah, yep,
Does
yep.
she have mommy issues clearly to do
Yeah,
that?
she's mad.
Yeah.
She's mad at him or mad at her for like a lot of different things that they
Okay.
explain in the Reddit post. But I'm gonna send it to you. It's on like a podcast.
I
I'm just
am
cracking up.
I'm honestly like so into this. Now I'm invested. Now what am I gonna do not having the story to read right now?
Yeah, no. So that is on my list now too. I
I
sat with
love
it
this
for like
comment.
I sat with it for like a little while, and I was like, I think I have to write this.
I think you have to. I think that's a super important thing that needs to be done for like the good of certainly my life, but I think everyone's lives. Oh my God, that is so messy and delicious.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah.
love that. How did you find that? You just TikTok was like, you know what? QB will like this. And we're
No,
gonna send this to her.
Jenna, you know who Jenna is, right?
Yeah,
Sweaty
yeah,
of mine. She sent me the link at like I don't know, it was like 4 o'clock in the morning. I woke up and I was
yeah.
like, what is this? And I like watched it and I was like, wow.
Yeah.
Cannot stop thinking about it.
I love that so much. Okay, I'm gonna pressure you until I get that book, please. That is just so good. Sometimes you hear about these things and you're like, okay, so truth is stranger than fiction sometimes. Like
Yeah.
it's wild. It's so that's why. So I'm gonna ask this one more question and then I'll let you go. But like, is that sort of a typical thing, kind of source for how you get your ideas? Like, what is it that kind of inspires you the most?
I mean, I would say that's the first time I've read something like that, or like that's given me an idea because I don't unconditional love. I mean, love unexpected kind of came out of I don't know where that came from. That was COVID brain because that was in 2020. But unconditional, I feel like came from reading a lot of taboo books,
Mhm.
and then kind of always been stemmed. I just I keep going from there.
Mhm.
What was meant to be kind of came from like wanting to give unconditional vibes, which I feel like, it did. And then the worst kept secret came because people were like, can you write a best friend's dad romance?
Mhm.
And I was like, okay. And then it kind of just became that.
Mhm. So kind
And
of
you can be on Messy Talk.
tropey?
Huh?
I was gonna say, so kind of like the trope kind of comes and
Yeah.
then germinates and then you kind of go from there?
Yes.
Yeah.
I am definitely somebody who's like, okay, that I want to write, this is the trope I want to write. And then I
Mhm.
kind of build a story. Like it's kind of rare that I like watch something or read something and I'm like, I want to like emulate that or like do that. This is the first time that I'm going to be like, oh Lord, am I going
Mhm.
to get sued for
No,
writing?
you'll be fine. You can
I
just
know.
kind of go over it. Your filthy little brain will take it somewhere completely new and exciting.
For
It'll be
sure. No,
wonderful.
for sure. For sure. But
That is really funny because I'm the opposite. I feel like not that I read something and want to write it, but just that I feel like mine never comes from a trope. And then
mhm,
I have to kind of write the story and I go back in and I'm like, what did I even write here? Like what are the components of this story? And it's usually something like very random. And I've told this story before, but the first book that I ever published, The Evolution of Sin, which is
mhm,
cheating, came because I mean, I like to ask invasive questions. And I asked my best friend at the time, like, what would you do if you fell in love with my boyfriend? And he fell in love with you too. And without hesitating, she was like, I would be with him. And I was like, bitch, we're not gonna be friends anymore. But then I thought
yeah,
about it and I was like, actually, that makes sense. Like I unwittingly would be unhappy because my best friend and my boyfriend are in love with each other. And also, like, two people's happiness is kind of worth the price of one person's happiness. Like, I'll be unhappy in the short term, but they'll be happy and I'll be happier eventually because I'll be with someone who actually wants to be with me. And
yeah,
like those kinds of questions, I feel like I find myself asking all the time. Some sort of a situation will come up in life and I'll be like, ooh, but like, how did they get there? Or why did that happen? And then I kind of think about it like that and the story comes to me. Sometimes it's a picture like King leaning against the motorcycle, but for the most part, it's some sort of weird hypothetical situation I've asked myself.
I love that. No, but there's so many different ways, obviously, to get to a
Yeah.
story. And I know some people will be like, I see a scene, like I dream a scene, and I have to write that. Like I have to write linearly,
Twilight.
like from huh?
Like Twilight. She had a
Yeah,
dream.
yeah.
Mhm.
I have to write from beginning to end. So if I wake up in the middle of the night and I've had a dream that about something, I just have to write that down and file away for later because I could not
Yeah.
start that scene with no. I'm gonna be like, we'll come back to you in a couple weeks or a month or however long it takes for me to get there in the story because I cannot start anywhere but chapter one. Or
Oh, that is interesting. I just don't have time to write my ideas as they come to me because happily, like I get so many ideas. So they do end up marinating for a long time. Like I don't think I've ever written a book where I didn't have the idea for years already because now that it's sequential, like I'm just knocking them off as they come to me. But yeah, you can only write so fast and
right.
you have so many ideas. So I think that's actually a good thing because even if I, have an idea for like the climax of the book and I don't know how it's going to start, I can write that down and like the pieces kind of come
Mm-hmm.
over time, which is, yeah, I've never started a book not at the beginning.
Okay. Yeah. I
Have
can't
you?
do it. No,
No,
no, I have to
I've
start.
never done that.
Yeah.
I write for the most part, I would say like 99% of the time sequentially.
Yeah. Same.
Yeah, I
I
just
was
like
saying, I
my
know
brain.
some people will write a scene and then build around it. And I'm just
Yeah,
like, I can't do
no.
that.
No, like I'll know that scene's coming, but I wait to write it. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess yeah, my brain just doesn't work like that. That would kind of make me feel weird.
Yeah. Sierra said something that like made me like, I was like, oh my God, it's exactly how I think. She was like, I feel like I'm learning about it like as they are. And if I write ahead, then I feel like I'm cheating myself out of how they got there. And I was like, yes.
Yeah, and I completely agree with that. I feel like they're telling me the story, so
Yeah.
why would they jump ahead? That doesn't make any sense.
Right.
Um, yeah, it's something about authenticity or something to the characters and to the story. But I mean, of course, who knows? Everyone writes in a different way, and it's all very fascinating. But
Yeah.
anyway, we've been here for a whole hour, and I know we could talk for another hour as well. But we will. I'll let you get back to your life, and probably text you after this immediately saying I miss you. But thank you for hanging out with me and hanging out with everyone.
Yeah. Thanks for
Always
having
so much fun
me.
to talk with you. I miss you.
Miss you. I'm not going to see you until November
No, no.
or
You said
October.
October. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's still kind of
Still.
far away,
Yeah.
but
Still
still, I'm
hard.
very excited because we're gonna make a whole thing of it. So I'm
I
not
love
gonna
it.
think about how much time it is. It's gonna be really fun. Okay, thanks guys. Thanks for
Okay.
coming and hanging out with us. Thanks, QB. I love you.
Bye.
Bye.
Love you. Bye.